All right, Matt, when we go see the Battlefield movie, like, am I going to buy the popcorn? Do we get two popcorns or do we get one and share? And would you get the drinks?
No, hell no. I'm bringing stuff in my
Yeah.
little fanny pack. You kidding me?
I
I
hope
ain't
it's
paying those
wrapped in
prices.
tons of tin foil because that's the kind of person I want you to be in the theater, Matt. Just like crinkling open.
Unraveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Really aromatic, like, I don't know, beef or something, like
Mm-hmm.
pulled
Mm-hmm.
pork.
Bring in a whole chicken dinner.
So did you hear the news about potentially, I think this is still kind of rumory zone, but
Yeah.
looking at making a Battlefield movie. It was potentially starring Michael B. Jordan. He would produce it. And then he's got another guy. He's got the guy from Mission Impossible potentially writing and directing it.
Yeah, that doesn't fill me. I mean, I like Michael B. Jordan. I think he's a great
Sure.
actor, and I think he's
Yeah.
very talented. He's made some incredible movies. What would a Battlefield movie even look like? Like, I don't mean to be cynical or anything, but what would it even look
Now,
like?
let's be cynical because the comments on this one, I was reading Reddit after the announcement and they're hilarious. Just like stuff people are like, so let me get this straight. The game that's like never had a good single player is now getting its own movie. Normally when you try and make a show or a movie, people know the game because it's got a fun, engaging single player. But
like, you can point to the story, or like the game would be like, this is the game they're gonna do it on. But I don't think there's one for Battlefield other than maybe like Bad Company.
Yeah, and even then, people are like, Bad Company was a ripoff of this other thing. Some like I forget which narrative it was, but they're like, it's basically just based on this, which already is kind of like an old whatever thing. And there's movies that have done it before, so it's really just slapping the Battlefield name on any war film, any fictional war film.
Vibes a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I liked parts of Battleship because
I never saw it myself.
Yeah, it's not worth. It's like it's fun sitting down to if you're in the mood for a laugh. You want to have a beer, some popcorn, and just laugh at a dumb action movie. It does have like Liam Neeson in it for like 3 seconds. I swear, they paid him like probably a big old mountain of money. They're like, okay, come on, how much can we get you for this film? And he's like, I'll show up for 1 day of shooting. And they're like, all right, let's get him in. And so he's in the movie for like legitimately 15 seconds. And then he's like in all the trailer shots. So you go and thinking like, I'm going to see a movie with Liam Neeson in it. And he's going to be the commander of this squadron. No, he's like the dude that gives some guy a pep talk in one scene. And then he's gone forever.
Nice.
Rihanna's in that film, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. The movie in which the World War II, I think it's the Missouri, our biggest battleship ever from World War II, takes on an alien spacecraft that can make shields and it came from space. It's got future tech. And somehow our biggest, most badass vehicle from World War II takes it on. And I was there for it. I was like, I like it. Nothing about this is plausible, but let's do it.
As long as it's entertaining. See, I don't know. I really have genuinely no idea what they're going to do with the battle. Because, like, there's no... The theme of Battlefield is just war. So I guess you could go, like, super gritty. You could do it goofy. Like I said, Bad Company 2. I mean...
Here's my prediction.
Okay.
Is because Battlefield is attached to the Battlefield IP, and DICE has been shying away from, like, overly calling the conflict like the U.S. versus China or the U.S. versus this nation.
Very vague. Now
they're getting away
Pax
from it.
Armada versus NATO. Yeah.
So like, unless it's a historical game in which you're like, well, that's just what happened in the war, so we're making a game about that war. If it's a futuristic or a modern day Battlefield game, then I feel like they're going to shy away from that, being like, oh, this is what would happen if the U.S. and China went to war. It'll be
pure fantasy, basically.
Yeah, it'll be the Pax Armada thing, which is already silly and whatever. So we're going to get a narrative that we don't care about. We're going to get soldiers that we know didn't fight in any specific conflict. So it's not going to mean as much as like watching a movie that's about a conflict that actually happened. You're like, dang, I can't believe this happened to people or people went through that, and that's like, that can be the formula of a great war film sometimes when you're just like, wow, like this is incredible that people did this. So it's going to be fictional, probably about a fictional conflict, because they're going to be too afraid to like do some sort of Red Dawn thing where, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Red Dawn movie.
No.
There's two. There's one from the 80s and one that's a remake. The 80s one is like Charlie Sheen and Patrick Swayze. And Russia invades the US. And basically,
oh, yes.
They're like a high school football team that like makes it out, and they're like become the resistance fighting against Russia. And it's surprisingly dark. Like, people die in it, and you're like, oh my God, I thought this was going to be like some fun, like kind of campy film, but they take it oddly seriously. Then they remade it. Also kind of, that one didn't do that well, but I'm like, okay, I could see sort of a Red Dawn angle being semi-interesting, but it's just going to be silliness. And I feel like they're pitching it with like saying, hey, look at all the money that the Minecraft movie and the Mario movies made. Because they did make some money. I think the Sonic movies might have made some money also. So they're like, look at these video game movies cashing in. But the problem is those movies are marketed at children. And like, you know, they can go watch anything these days. Like, nobody's saying, oh, the Minecraft movie was amazing. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. So it clearly couldn't have been that good. But the Battlefield movie is going to be like teen to young adult to maybe our age, but I don't know.
I mean, it could be fun. It could just be just a fun ride. As I said, Michael B. Jordan, if he's attached to it, he's good.
Yeah. And, probably straight to streaming would be my guess, though.
Could be. Yeah, very well could be. So I don't want to knock it, but it doesn't inspire, because I don't even know where they would go with it. I genuinely have no idea what a Battlefield movie what direction they would go with that, because it's, like you said, the franchise is just not really known for its storytelling, and it's mainly known for its large-scale multiplayer. And I guess you could kind of tell a narrative within inside of that framework, but
I think they should. I think they should do the same tech that they did with Sinners, where Michael B. Jordan is just the full squad. He's like one of 5.
He just plays every character. He's the medic. He's the engineer. He's the recon.
He's a quadruplet or whatever.
Yeah. Like Sinners, right? But we're going extreme with it.
Yeah. Just do that, and he's every character in it.
Actually, would probably be pretty good, honestly.
I'd go see it. I'll drive down to where you're at, Matt. And we'll get some popcorn.
All right, sounds good.
On a movie day.
Yeah. I'll bring in the chicken dinner. Speaking of, I wanted to clarify. So last week we were talking about the Battlefield update. Yeah. And apparently I give off glass half empty vibes.
You do.
Which apparently someone negative commented. Nancy. And I know, just a negative Nancy over here, which I was a little genuinely surprised that I give off that kind of energy. But apparently we didn't do a good enough job of describing that. Apparently they thought that I was ragging on Battlefield for going to a new schedule with the new season system, right? So it's going for like the season 4 will only be or season 3 will I think only be two months. And apparently people thought I was like upset about that, and it was like, so I just wanted to
I understand the confusion. Straight. You were defending it, saying that it was better. Yeah. The new schedule was going to be quicker and better. It's that you described the new schedule in such a confusing way that I didn't understand what you were saying at first. So I understand other people getting confused. But set the record straight. It was very clear to me that you were defending the new schedule being potentially way better than even I thought it was, which would be super cool if it was.
Which is just the fact that it looks like we're getting more maps on a faster pace. Yeah. Essentially when you get down to it. So.
Yep.
I didn't do a very good job of describing it, apparently. And people thought I was being negative when I was actually being the opposite, like complete opposite. So that's on me, I guess.
Yeah, no, I took it as you being excited about the new content pace.
Yeah, because I am.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of new content, Arc Raiders, once this podcast goes live, we're going to have a new map, whatever your name is. And it looks like it's going to be a big old map, a big old coastal map with sand and beaches and giant flying things that we don't really know much about yet. But
called what was it called? The Arc Turbine.
Yeah, the new map is Riven Tides. It's a coastal map, and It looks cool. There's like an abandoned water slide theme park thing there. If you can't slide down the water slide, uninstalling. I'll just put that out
you
there.
definitely should. Yeah, and it better allow you to like actually go,
Yeah,
up and down.
I mean, it's going to be pretty cool if you have a firefight while on the water slide with somebody.
They're going down one slide, you're going down the other.
Yeah. I'm still excited for Arc Raiders. I've definitely had to pull myself away from the game because I like it so much that when I start playing it, all of my time goes into it, and then I need dad games right now where I can play them for like a few minutes, and then like a roguelite is perfect for me. Okay. It's like a 10-minute, session.
Do a run.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah.
Exactly. I need that. Arc Raiders, I'm like, well, I got to get that mission quest done if I want to get my reward and upgrade, and and then it just turns into hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
It's a fun game. The thing that excites me is the arc turbine. I'm hoping is going to be a actual like much more challenging encounter. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been parodying this for a while. I think Arc Raider needs more challenge. I think it needs more end game activities. And from the sounds of it, this one's going to be a bit challenging. So fingers crossed, they've kind of taken that feedback into consideration and they're moving more into that direction. But the preview that they literally just released today didn't really give the impression that like this is that much different of a map inherently, other than just like visual layout and everything compared to the other maps. Maybe I got to read through it again, but
okay.
I'm not getting like a hardcore like this is the end game map, kind of
vibe.
But
sure, hard to tell visually, I would argue, but
yeah.
I think
we'll see.
For me, and I agree with your sentiment that you brought up last podcast about wanting an end game sort of evolution arc. For me, I'm more like, I just want a different feeling map, because all the maps are so good in the game that adding another one with a very different vibe to it can just make all the difference sometimes. Where you're just like, oh man, this is so cool being in this totally random, unique environment. Yeah, and it'll be interesting. They have like a big sandy open beach area, which can be interesting in games like this when you're like, hey, I need to go out into an area that has like no cover and lots of people could be observing it. And so it's like this new risk reward factor where you're like, okay, am I going to cross this giant open desert? There's a few areas like that in the, what's the launch pad map that they have in it, where it's the Spaceport? Yeah, Spaceport's got a few spots where it's like, the extraction point's out sort of in the middle of the desert, and depending on which direction you come from, you're just kind of running out in the open for a while. You're like, yeah, if somebody engages me out here, I got to run about 300 meters before I'm behind any cover. So bring the smoke grenades.
Yeah, they also sounds like they're going to be incorporating that into the gameplay loop too, because there's going to be a device that you can carry with you. It looks like it's a new minor map condition called beach combing, where you comb the beach for buried loot, and you're going to be, and the big stuff is going to be out in the open. So if you want to do that, you can, and you might be rewarded for it, but you also might get sniped because there's no cover.
Yeah. Now, Matt, I figured I'd ask you, since you play all the supermarket simulators and stuff like that out there, but
okay.
Is there a beach combing simulator, like a metal detector sim out there?
There probably is a metal detector simulator. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't played it, but I would not be surprised whatsoever.
Okay. Well, you should put it on your list. Let me know how it is.
I should.
That's how you'd know you've definitely entered your elder gaming years, is when you're like, I can't even be bothered to buy a metal detector and go comb the beach myself. I'm just going to play the video game version of it.
Perfect.
Live out my fantasy in the quiet comfort of my gaming room. Did you hear that Xbox is the PlayStation did it first, but Xbox seems to be doing the same thing, where they're going, it'd be cool to have some exclusives back again. It'd be cool to kind of like, have some platform exclusives that brought people to play the Xbox over the PlayStation and all that stuff. So they sort of mentioned that they're going to revisit the exclusives idea. Last week we recorded the podcast, I think on the day that they dropped some of this news, so we missed it. But they lowered the Xbox Game Pass price.
Right.
A decent amount. And
and it needed to because it was insane.
Yeah, and so they're really like trying to re-strategize this Game Pass and also the Xbox platform. And we knew a lot was going to change when they brought in a new leader, head of Xbox, whatever the position is called. So we're starting to see that. What do you think about exclusives coming back? Because just a few months back, Sony made a similar statement, like, hey, our sales when we do multi-platform launches are not that great on PlayStation, especially, or they're not that great on PC, is what they said. Because now, granted,
they come out 2 years later,
yeah,
and they're like $60. It's like, yeah, no kidding, they're not like selling like hotcakes. Like, surprise.
So, I think it was maybe their excuse of trying to financially back their decision to go back to exclusives, because I think realistically they're just seeing that there's more value in for them to build out their platform. Where to developers, there's probably more value to them to publish on multi-platforms. But for Sony, it's like, nah, let's get some exclusives back. Let's get those people buying PlayStation.
I mean, I'm obviously not a fan of exclusives because I'd rather be able to play the games on my preferred platform. Like as the buyer, as the consumer. I want to be able to have that choice, and they're taking that away from us, which sucks. So that's never going to be good in my eyes. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. This is something we've been dealing with forever. I'm hoping that Xbox doesn't go the route where they're like, sorry, PC, you know how we've been kind of rubbing, elbows for a while now. Sorry, we can't be friends anymore, and you have to buy an Xbox to play our exclusive titles. I don't see that happening. I'm guessing there's just going to be like, no, it won't be on PlayStation. You're still gonna be able to play it on PC, because that'd be really stupid at this point. They've really fostered that community, and
it's Microsoft at the end of the day, and it's like
right.
You own Windows, you own Xbox. Put it on those two things that you own.
Right.
Yeah.
So as long as they don't go crazy with it and they keep kind of the whole PC Xbox, I'm fine with it. Obviously, I still think I would prefer it to be on all platforms, but I understand if they want to go back to being more exclusive, because that's what we were told the entire time. You need exclusives to win the console war, right?
I mean, Nintendo is still making consoles because that's the only way you can play Zelda and Mario and all your favorite Nintendo games, and they got some bangers. So that's why people buy Switches like crazy, So they've very much proved that sticking with I love that Nintendo hasn't changed their platform strategy forever, right? It's sort of been the same thing since, like, I don't know, when the first Nintendo came out, which I guess would have been maybe the late 80s, early 90s. It was a long time ago. And it's just like,
they've done their thing for a long time and just stuck with it.
Yeah.
They stick to their guns.
Yeah. And it's not fair to say they haven't changed, because obviously they invented the Switch, which was an incredible upgrade to stuff, and now both Microsoft and Sony are like, wow, that seems like a really good idea.
Handheld, we never thought about that before.
Yeah, and there's rumors that the PS6 might be something like that, or similar, or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see what they come up with. Xbox going through changes, but at least the Game Pass is cheaper now. I saw an interesting sort of, this goes into the fun AI stuff again, but I'll keep it light this time. Morgan Stanley, who's a pretty big name in, when they say something in terms of like future predictions about business and where to invest in and blah, 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 you usually listen to them. They estimate that AI could cut game dev costs by up to half, which would mean that profits in the game dev sector are actually going to go up, because costs are going to go down. Which, of course, we need
to cut developers. Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So, like, hey, we're going to cut costs.
Where's that cost cutting coming from? Probably developers.
Yeah. So I don't think they mean cutting the costs of their electricity or the overhead of their office space. They are, in fact, talking about employees here. So, the article's written from an investor standpoint of like, hey, if you want to know about what to invest in, these game companies could make good investment strategies in the future, because they're going to shave off a lot of those expenses. But yeah, the game industry is, it feels kind of like it's downsizing to a degree. And It's like one of
Oh yeah,
those things.
it definitely is. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't become such a small exclusive thing where it's like the film industry or something where
No,
like,
so it's still, even though things have been a little rocky ever since the whole pandemic and everything, I still think, to my knowledge, that the gaming industry makes more money than all other like entertainment industries combined. Like it's still massive. So I don't see it going away or becoming like super niche.
Yeah, no, I don't see it going away or becoming super niche, but I'm saying like the jobs in the industry could actually get reduced massively compared to.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Sorry, I misinterpreted that. That's my bad.
Yeah, because if AI cut costs 50%, that's literally 50% of game devs going away, right? So you're like, all
Maybe,
right,
but
the
yeah.
size of every studio is now half of what it once was.
You could turn that around and be like, well, it could be maybe not 50%, maybe a slight decrease in game dev, but the people that are making games are able to make games significantly faster because you can get through a lot of the more tedious stuff and you can get to the heart of what makes games fun and focus on that. And then you can just pump out games quicker, which makes more revenue. And, you know, here we are.
I would love that angle. I think you run into the finite time problem.
Yep.
Of saying, okay, well, if 50 games come out each year, then you have time to play 10 of those games. If 100 games come out each year, you still only have time to play 10 of those games. So, like, more games do worse if you make more.
I see what you're saying.
But yeah.
You're saturating the market.
Yep. Market saturation. Anyway, interesting report on that front. And yeah, I was actually looking at game stocks, and Ubisoft is like $1 now. If you want to take a
they're not
super risky buy. Actually, on Ubisoft news, we're going to turn into a stock investment channel. By the way, get all your stock advice.
I've seen some YouTube shorts out there. They do very well for themselves.
They're so okay. You heard the news about Ubisoft's Black Flag remake. Yep. I think everybody did because that's like everybody's favorite Assassin's Creed game, and they're remaking it, and hopefully they don't screw it up. It sounds like they're making some good changes to it from what they said that they were doing, where people are like, here's the parts of the game that sucked, and then they're like, cool, we're changing that. Like all that stuff is fixed. And so it's like, okay, great. Sounds like they're doing a decent job here. On the flip side of that coin, the game director for Assassin's Creed Hexe left.
Hexe?
Is it Hexe or Hexe?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Yes, they're making a magic using Assassin's Creed game. Did you see that, Matt?
They're making a magic Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah. So like Hexe is like, oh, you're going to like cast a spell on somebody or whatever.
Huh?
So
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, check it
Hexe.
Out. I'll wait.
Okay. 2 days ago, no longer features Is it like official? Is it like announced?
Am I reporting fake? Hexe is Hexe.
IGN posted about it.
Yeah. They don't have any. They haven't shown off anything other than I believe it's a known project being worked on.
Okay.
So yeah, basically Ubisoft just trying to be like, Assassin's Creed makes tons of money. How many Assassin's Creed games can we make before people get annoyed? I think they're looking at Assassin's Creed Hexe right now as a magic using version of that concept or whatever it is. I really don't know what it's supposed to be about. But yeah, they lost their game
Assassin's
director.
Creed codename Hexe. Yeah. Huh. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. So on one side, they got an upcoming remake that people are looking forward to. And on the other side, a game director for one of their major titles was just like, nah, I'm going to take a job somewhere else, and left.
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't know what to think about Ubisoft. I hope they make it in the long run, but they've been hit harder than I think any other game publisher
they have
recent years.
Yeah, poor decisions. They're struggling to find their footing again. I wish them well. I'm kind of hoping they pull off a Capcom, because Capcom, they were kind of struggling, and then they came out with Resident Evil 7, and then they started doing remakes, And then they, within those remakes, they started making other great Resident Evil games and other titles as well. And now, like for like the last decade, they've been kicking ass. Like they've been really doing very well. And so maybe this could be Ubisoft's chance of like, hey, we're going to remaster some of the old classics and like really bring them to modern standards. And at the same time, interject some new ideas into Assassin's Creed or our other Tom Clancy games and stuff like that. That would be sick. You know, they got, I think, Division 3 on the way. So I'm hopeful because I don't want game companies to, you know, crash and burn, especially one on that scale and size, because that's a lot of devs underneath their banner, right? That's a lot of devs.
Yeah, I think they've already fired a ton of them as well.
They probably have, yeah.
Sadly, but they got some Tencent backing and all that. I think Tencent owns a big chunk of them now or something. Because they've been having to sell off to sort of keep afloat for a while. Did you see Starfield topped the weekly bestseller charts because it finally came out on PlayStation 5?
I did not know. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm kind of surprised because I didn't play the latest update. That came out already, right? The new Starfield update. Yeah.
Yep.
I just wasn't interested because it's Starfield and they'd have to completely change that game to get me back into it.
The DLSS 5, you know, content that they showed didn't get you excited to play. I know that DLSS 5 is not in yet, but I'm just saying.
Honestly, I probably would come back and check it out if I could turn that shader on.
If you could turn that on, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see. I'd be curious. But I think that's kind of... I'm a little surprised by it because Starfield turned out to be such a mid game in my opinion, and I think a lot of people sort of shared that sentiment, and that, granted, that's from me not playing the latest update, so they might have really improved a lot of stuff, but to hit the bestseller chart for an entire week is not nothing. Like it's
something. Definitely something. Bethesda
making their money, man. They just print money, that company, man.
It is interesting that they kind of just have like a lot of their games have much longer lifespan than you kind of expect them to have.
Yeah.
You know, Fallout 76, it's because they put hard work and effort into it, but Fallout 76 kind of had like a resurgence, and I went back and played and was like, oh, this game after years of updates is, you know, it's fun. There's some fun to be had here, and it had a decent sized player base, right? Obviously, you've got Skyrim. You know, there's many examples of their titles that they just have long tailwinds that just keep kind of going.
Yeah. Speaking of tails, I hear you played Mouse PI for Hire.
I did, yeah, and I enjoyed it. It is a very charming game. For those of you that are not aware, it is kind of like there's a rubber hose animation.
Yeah.
That might be the way it's described. So like your classic kind of like Mickey Mouse style animation from way, way back in the day. And it's a boomer shooter where you are fighting just really classic looking kind of animated characters. Everything's just got like a lot of, it just oozes a class and just nostalgia. And they did a really good job with it. Gameplay wise, gets pretty repetitive. Very repetitive. That's actually one of my biggest critiques of it is they give you a lot of weapons, which is great, and you can like upgrade them, and you can have like different ways of interacting with enemies. But the enemies you're interacting with get very, very samey. And it doesn't really force you to like really adapt and change your strategy and everything, which I found to get kind of stale after a while.
I think
Did you have a chance to play it?
Yeah, and I agree. Well, yeah, we talked about it last podcast. It's okay if you forgot, Matt. You're getting older, but
yeah.
It has like funny little call outs to Doom in it and stuff, where you can find the little Doom figures around, you know, and you have the little animation when you collect them and stuff. The thing is like Doom's gameplay is just like incredibly well paced, and it does evolve. Like you can't just use the same gun the whole time or whatever, you know.
Right. Kind of becomes a puzzle.
Yeah, and I kind of enjoyed the little shout outs, but at the same time it made me go, yeah, this isn't as fun as Doom. Like your gameplay is not hitting anywhere near on that level. So it's like, it's a cute call out, but it's also reminding me like where it stands from a gameplay perspective. So I think what I said last podcast was like, I wouldn't recommend it on a gameplay level. Like at least I said in my video review of it, which was like, Basically, you're not going to be telling anybody about the gameplay of Mouse PI. You're going to be telling them about how cool the world looks and the animation and the music and all that stuff, and how it's just like a really fun vibe. But it's hard to make a game, a shooter style like that that's really fun. Like that, you got to lead with the gameplay, like games like
I
Doom
think
do.
single player first person shooters are really hard and challenging to make entertaining. I just think it's just tough. The thing that comes for me personally is multiplayer because of the emergent gameplay that comes from it, right? Trying to make AI fun to fight against is really tough. It's very hard. And a lot of AAA companies struggle with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the two most common strategies are like overwhelm you with numbers or throw a damaged tank at you. And then you're just like, okay, well, I just got to pump bullet after bullet into this thing and hope it doesn't eventually kill me as I have to expose myself to it for like 5 minutes to put enough bullets into it before it dies. And those have been like the two most common ways of doing AI in single player games like that, because doing really smart AI that outsmarts you and figures out a way around you and tricks you and does stuff takes a crap load of time, and it's really hard. And then especially if you're doing it for a boss, you're like, well, that was for like 20 minutes of gameplay. We just put in like all this work and it got the player through 20 minutes of gameplay. Like, so it's really hard to do that stuff. And whenever you see good AI in a single player game, it stands out because you're like, whoa, they're behaving like not like stupid AI all of a sudden. It's why tactical shooters are so hard to do when they're like trying to make when they're trying to make a world with believable henchmen or something like that are like, oh, they're going to flank and they're going to hit you from the right angles. And then they just do something really dumb, like just walk at you slowly down the middle of a corridor. And you're like, okay, like you didn't want to, take cover or do something. It just throws you out of the element.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to make a realistic hardcore game where you're like, every moment, every shot counts, but that also includes the enemy. And if you make it too hard where they just instantly kill you, it's like, well, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Like, Gray Zone Warfare, I think, is going to have to really struggle with this long term, is how do we make it challenging, but at the same time, not beaming people through bushes, right? And that's kind of what they were dealing with at the beginning when they originally came out in early access. It's not as bad now. But yeah, it's really difficult to make it challenging without feeling like it was cheap.
Yeah,
because they're essentially cheating. They can make the bots one shot you from across the map if they wanted to.
Yeah. That's never been the problem, is making difficult AI. It's fun to fight against AI. Is the challenge.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you get a chance to play the Osiris Reborn closed beta? I guess because
Osiris Reborn
Expanse
closed beta.
The Expanse.
Oh
Osiris
no!
Reborn.
I saw your video about it though, and it looked okay.
Yeah.
From your perspective, it looked like, speaking of AI, enemies were walking down a corridor. You were shooting them in the face, and they're just like, duh, 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 and I was like, okay, this has definitely got a ways to go.
Yeah. Gameplay is not anything I would write home about. I would just say it was adequate. It would be fine if the story and characters were enough to like carry the game. Like, it seems like a game where one or the other thing has got to carry it, but we're not going to get both. And with the Expanse, you would expect the story to carry it. However, that was the biggest amount of feedback from almost everybody I saw on like Reddit and stuff, were like, this, like you're dealing with the Expanse here, a series based on books that were incredibly well written and incredibly well received, and characters that everybody loved, and the writing of those characters was so good. Then it got turned into a TV show with, again, great writing, great characters, and now it's getting turned into a game, and the writing and the characters are not there. So
it's not hitting the same.
Yeah.
Well, you did only get like 1 hour of being able to.
Yeah.
Right. So it's pretty brief little, tidbit.
Yeah.
So that's too bad to hear, but
it's a year early.
It's still got a long time of development. So hopefully they're going to give themselves, they're going to take this feedback and be like, okay, maybe we need to pump the brakes and we need to go back to not the drawing board, but my impression was that Owlcat, that's the developer, right?
Yep.
Owlcat Games, like they are really well known for their RPGs and really well written stories. And so it kind of surprises me that it's not hitting as hard as I would have assumed it would have.
Yeah. Well, there's two angles to this. And one, I want to give Owlcat some credit because I saw them in the forums of just about every discussion thread going like, heard you loud and clear. We're taking this back to the team. You know, we're going back to the drawing board. We're going to work on this stuff. So I'm like, man, great. You know, they launched this beta early. They said very openly, like, this beta is not to just like promote the game, but to actually get feedback, which is why you get to see it a year before release, you know?
Right.
And it was clear that it was a little early. There's definitely some performance stuff and some bug things here and there, you know, nothing that I was concerned about, but just if you're playing a beta that early, stuff that I would expect.
It's a vertical slice. This was clearly something that they had to make for this specifically.
Yeah. And so that angle there, Owlcat took the feedback well, but also they kind of dabble, if I'm not mistaken, a bit more in the fantasy realm. Like they've done some Warhammer games and some other fantasy, I want to say.
Straight up like Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So like Dungeons and Dragons, but adjacent.
Yeah. So those fantasy style games, I think, handle, or we're more used to seeing that sort of chunky dialogue where you go, hello, stranger, can I help? Can I offer you a blah, blah, blah? And then you go, and then you wait, and then you got your dialogue options. Then you're like, yes, I indeed would like one of the blah, blah, blahs that you're offering. And then it just turns into this weird, clunky, segmented thing, but we're used to it because that's been fantasy gaming for like the past 30 years, essentially.
So you're wanting something that's more cinematic.
Well, I'm saying if you like the Expanse, whether it's the books or the show, and then you come into this very kind of clunky dialogue sequences where the characters stand in not T poses, but in casual pose, like I would just be like this the whole time, like waiting. Okay, now it's my turn to talk. And it just doesn't read like the real characters of the Expanse. And I was particularly thrown in the intro when you're basically telling this guy that like people he knew died during the Eros event in the game, in the universe. And then he's like, that sucks. So how about this spaceship over here? And I'm just like, huh? Like I get it. They're trying to move the game along and get you into playing because they don't want to bore you to death with dialogue. But at the same time, it was just an interesting combination with the Expanse universe. And I think they're going to have to give it a bit more finesse for it to appeal to the Expanse fans, let alone a wider gaming audience. But we'll see.
So, yeah, I mean, so that's good that they're taking the feedback. The only thing I'm pushing back on you specifically is it depends on like what kind of Expanse game are you looking for? Are you looking for one that is actually allowing you to make choices? Because if you make choices, there's going to have to be at some point you make a choice, and there's going to be pauses, which is going to, break that flow of the dialogue and make things chunkier or clunkier, right? Or do you want something that's just straight up, we're following a character, their story is preset, and it's just really well crafted cutscenes.
Yeah. I prefer the latter, where it's all just like, here's the story, you're part of it, enjoy. Because then I think you can write a better story personally. For a gameplay perspective,
it's a lot easier.
Yeah. From the traditional role playing where you get to make choices and all that stuff. Obviously, there's an appeal to it. I think they can do better with the multi-choice approach here. I think they can do better is what I'm saying. Like, obviously you got to pause in between the dialogue. That's not necessarily my main critique. It's like the pauses that are occurring naturally when you're not making a choice are also awkward. Where
it's just, there's a long stretch of just nothing where like, why is no one talking?
Yeah. And the character animation was not great either. But I think it could get there. I love the Expanse universe enough. I'm not banking on the gameplay being a major draw to it. Like it was competent. It was fine, but
as long as it's competent, as long as like you said, the story gets there and the characters get there, that's the real draw.
Yeah, and I think the narrative angle could be interesting in that it seems like it's going to delve more into the private research companies behind, stuff involving the proto-molecule and all that stuff.
Proto-molecule.
Yeah,
yes.
and I'm like, cool, because the show didn't really get into that too much. They sort of showed stuff, but they never gave you a big backstory on it. So it seems like this game is going to get much deeper on that, and they throw you right into the mix right away, and that these private companies, Protogen or whatever, are hunting you down because you got off of Aero Station and you know too much.
Of course.
So
of course you do.
Now you got to get away. So love the Expanse universe. Down to see some more narrative content in it, and hopefully Owlcat can really polish it up in the next year.
Fingers crossed, because that's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah. You played that new game, man. MilSimmers or war gamers or whatever you want to call it. They've been eating well lately. They got a lot of options.
There's a lot. Yeah, there was the Hell Let Loose Vietnam beta, I think over just this weekend. I didn't have a chance to play. Did you?
I did not. I wanted to do it, but being a dad over here.
Yeah, it's tough life out here.
Yeah.
So that was over the last weekend. There's Bellum going on right now, and then now this has come out in early access. The game is literally just called
83.
83.
Yeah.
It's just 83. It is a alternate history, basically, of the Cold War gone hot. That's kind of the premise. I don't know if there's much more story than that. Full disclosure, I did a sponsor stream for them. Okay. So just want to make sure. But the game itself is basically Cold War, where you're using all the iconic weapons, and it's a spiritual successor, because I don't think it's the same company, but I believe it may be some of the same developers. I could be wrong about that. Who made like stuff, or it plays a lot like Rising Storm and Red Orchestra. So if you played those games in the past, you're going to be right at home in a lot of ways. The way they described it and the gameplay is they want to make it feel hardcore and tactical without the running simulator that a lot of the other games have. So your squads and your Bellum, where you're literally just running across the map, and then you get there and you might get a couple of kills, you might not, you die, and then you have to do it all over again, where you're just running around everywhere. So they try to condense that and squish that down. So it's a lot like kind of Battlefield-y, where you're playing Rush and you're just trying to get to those objectives, but in a very hardcore one shot, you're probably going to die kind of situation. Yeah.
So enjoyed. I'm seeing a mixed review on Steam over here.
Yeah, and I get why it's mixed. It's definitely early access. Yeah. And one thing that stuck out to me was I had to turn down the volume so much that gunshots were not whisper quiet, but it was pretty quiet.
This is common in MilSims, man. They do this a lot.
I don't know why. Yeah. Someone said it could have been a glitch for me. I tried reloading my game, didn't fix it. But the explosions were so loud that I had to turn it like to the point where it lost like all atmosphere. I couldn't really hear footsteps. I couldn't hear the rustling of the leaves or anything like that. And all that really adds to the immersion, and that's kind of what you want from a sort of MilSim game, and that was sort of lost. So that was a bit of a downer. It runs okay. One of the big critiques I think they had a while back was I think they had like a beta or something, and it did not run well. And people are very, very upset about that, and rightfully so. And it looks like they've done a pretty good job of trying to fix that. And optimization wise, it runs fine. Yeah. Gameplay's okay. I'm rooting for them. Yeah, but they do have some work cut out for them, to say the least.
Is there destruction in the game, or is the environment static?
I didn't notice any destruction. No, I did not.
Because they have tanks and stuff, and they have buildings and cities, and it's like 40v40, which is a pretty decent sized game. I mean, 80 player battles. And I see destroyed looking buildings, but I don't see any footage of those being able to be destroyed further.
From what I remember, I didn't see any destruction. No.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
The visuals look nice for the most part. How would you rate them?
Visuals are okay. Maybe a little bit outdated. Okay. But once again, it is an early access title. It plays a lot like Rising Storm 2, but it's Cold War, right? Like, so if you played that game, you're going to feel pretty right at home. But I think they got a bit of an uphill battle for them right now, especially considering there are so many other great
Yeah.
War simulator style games out there right now. Because Bellum, Hell Let Loose. I just went back and played Hell Let Loose, and it has its issues. God, I
Yeah.
forgot how much that game stutters every 2 seconds. But
dude,
man,
sometimes I can't play Hell Let Loose because I'll get on and I'll just die 5 times in a row before I even see anybody. And then I'll be like, why am I even trying to bother with this game? And then other times I'll get on and I'll have some amazing rounds. I'm like, this is the best, coolest, most immersive experience ever. And it's just like, there's no consistency with the game experience.
It is the biggest feast or famine game you can play.
Yeah.
And that's true for a lot of these style of games. Last night had a moment where I hit 4 shots in like 6 seconds, just bam, 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 all right in a row. All of them dropped, and I was like, I'm cheating, and it was incredible. I'm like, and that's why you play these games.
Yeah.
And then the next 20 minutes, I'm just getting slammed, over and over and over again.
That was your moment.
God damn it!
Yeah, that was your only moment, and you're like, all right, fair enough.
Fun though. It is fun when it works.
We are in kind of a weird situation now where, like you've just been mentioning, all these MilSims that are coming out, but not just coming out, but we already have quite a few on the market that people can play that are competing in different ways. And it's wild how much the MilSim, the FPS MilSim world has just like exploded, at least with, oh gosh, the trailer just started playing randomly on Steam. It just started.
Great.
Yeah. It just started exploding out of nowhere. Now I'm almost afraid to say it, but there might be a bit too much market saturation for the MilSim audience.
It does feel like it's getting a little saturated, yeah.
Because these games are doing well, but they're not doing like crazy AAA well. So when you take that MilSim audience and you spread it out amongst like Squad and all of the other Squad-like games, you go, okay, well, we can't all make it, guys. So like they have small teams. They don't have to like be massively successful, but ultimately like, I don't know. I'm just a little worried about all these games coming out at the same time. Like, I don't know if the market's here for it, I don't know if there's enough gamers.
Yeah. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I would agree that the saturation seems to be reaching a point where it's like, okay. And I think 83 might run into that issue where it's like, this game, I think it has some bones here that could be really fun, but it is going toe to toe with some heavier hitters. And they're really going to have to try to prove themselves. And I think they need to do maybe a bit more than just, hey, we're hardcore without a little bit with less running, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I wish them the best. And I feel like a me from like 10 years ago would have been like, hell yeah, more MilSim shooters. Woo, let's go. And Dad Level Cap is like, all right, we'll see what happens here.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I ended up, did I tell you I was playing a little bit of Nine Kings a bit more, which is like
you might have.
Yeah. I've been playing that one more because it's so easy to just drop in and do a round or two and then move on, which is perfect for me right now. I know, I believe I try and play it on the Steam Deck and it doesn't have great Steam Deck integration yet.
That's too bad. Because it looks like it would be a game that would be perfect for a Steam Deck.
For sure. I assume they're probably working on better Steam Deck support because I think it's early access. It is early access right now, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's very similar to a lot of other roguelites, but it does this sort of fun pseudo city building mechanic with it. So it's an auto battler, city builder card game that you can totally break it in fun ways, and eventually if you go on the endless mode, it'll just start ramping up the enemies so absurdly powerful that you will eventually lose. What I was impressed with the game is I had a round yesterday where normally you got units and you're like modifying their damage, by dropping cards on them and you're like, oh, it doubles the damage. And you're like, oh my God, that's such a good card, and you're looking at like 200 damage, 300 damage. Wow, that's incredible. I started getting enough modifiers on this one pack of wizards or whatever, where they're their damage started going into the numbers where I don't even understand how they were reading out, because it would have the little E and then like a multiplier after it. I'm like, what am I in? The like thousands, the tens of thousands, the millions? Yeah. Well, actually, before it went to that, I was at like 600,000 damage on these things. And it was really funny because like they would just attack once and half the AoE from their attack would obliterate half of the army coming at me.
But that's what's fun about those games is just like
totally.
The stupid numbers. You're just like, I made this work, get wrecked. Like that's what makes those games just enjoyable, right?
So yeah, what I'm saying is I've been enjoying it. It's got that fun, like you can have a basic round where you're like, I did good. I made it to the end. Cool. I got it. And then you can have other rounds where you're just like, I am killing everything that moves an inch, like just obliteration. And yeah, then I finally got to I put it on endless mode because you can keep going after the end and just see how far you can push it if you want. And I just lost, and I don't even understand how I lost. They had like these ballistas that were just somehow hitting my back line, but it didn't make any sense. It just showed me losing a life on rounds where I'm like, I'm pretty sure I won that battle. That all just happened. It was like the game was like, you lose. Trust me.
You lose. You suck. Suck it, nerd. You suck.
Yeah. I was like, okay, whatever you say, weird game. But I'm enjoying it. You have different factions, different cards. There's all kinds of like crazy foil cards that can show up that can completely change the rules and turn your like mediocre round into a god tier round or something like that. If you figure it out, so it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I think it's got a lot of potential, and it's got a decent amount of things I would be.
Is it in early access?
I believe so, because the balance
is in early access. You're right.
Yeah, the balance is a little wonky right now. There's definitely some stuff where I'm like, this is never useful, and other stuff where I'm like, this is OP. So stuff can get balanced out, but otherwise,
gotcha.
I like it, man. I could easily just sit down and play it for like 8 hours or something. It's
It's one of those games.
Yeah.
Speaking of roguelites, have you done these Vampire Survivors game?
Yeah.
Well, they came out with Vampire Crawlers, which is a deck building dungeon crawler style experience. And it is Vampire Survivors, all the mechanics of like what you have in there, but in a card game format where you deck build as you go along. And it's not bad. It's okay. I don't know if it has the same sauce as the original game, but I had fun kind of messing around with it. You have to build your deck out and think about it critically, because if you don't, you pick the wrong card and it could be the wrong, it just doesn't fit your deck, and now you just got a wasteful, a card that just not working with your strategy. So you kind of have to think it through as you're going along. But once you start to get into a vibe, you're like, oh, okay, it's got a flow to it where there's combos. So you need to put down a 0 card, 1, 2, 3 in terms of how much they cost. And if you do that, it will keep ramping up the damage for those cards. So if you do 0, 1, and then 2 in a row, that 2 cost card will do significantly more damage than if you just played the 2 card by itself at the beginning, right?
Okay.
So that means you want to make sure that your deck has enough 0s, 1s, and 2 cost cards so that you can get that 2 card out, right?
Got it.
It's fun.
Yeah. I swear we're in this next decade of gaming. There's going to be so many card and deck building games. Because the problem is Slay the Spire and other Slay the Spire like games like Balatro and whatever have done so well that everybody's going to be chasing that for the next decade. And we're just going to get endless deck building card games. And I honestly don't hate it. I don't they're fun.
I like card games.
It's fun. I'm not burnt out on the idea quite yet, but I swear they're going to try and we're going to be playing Call of Duty and you'll be like, oh, I got the level up card for my gun.
Yeah. I will say I've reached a little bit of a limit now where and this could 100% be a skill issue, Could also be I'm just not playing the right characters. You can choose like your crawler at the beginning, and they will have like a kind of a different play style, right? And they also get different cards for them.
Yeah.
Where you get you start a level and you just like the enemies just don't die, and you're just like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You have to. So this is a game where you have to like kind of grind a little bit, where you have to go back to previous levels and go through them again and win and get a lot of cash. You can spend that cash on getting, like you do in Vampire Survivors, where like more damage. You just inherently just deal more damage. You have, more projectiles, and so that when you can get to those harder areas, you don't just fall over.
Yeah.
And I don't really like that. I'm like,
I agree.
I
think that's kind of bad roguelike design, because like, okay, I'm not going to pretend that I can beat Hades on my first run through.
Right.
But somebody could beat Hades on their first run through. And I like that is an option. But and that's because it's well designed.
This feels less like you could do that. Like, just because it's a pure numbers game, right?
Right.
Like no amount of technical skill is going to allow you to outwit a card, right? Like you only have so many cards, and so maybe it's possible. So that was I wouldn't say it's like a big negative, but it was like, okay, I don't really want to sit here and grind a card game, right? Like that doesn't really appeal to me. So that's kind of one of my gripes with it so far.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll keep my eyes on it. I got plenty of games in my catalog to check out right now.
Yes. Are you going to be checking out Diablo 4's new expansion coming out tonight?
No, I'm not. And it's not because I'm not interested. It's because I'm just, I have to pick my games wisely these days. And it's really more of a like, okay, if I got hours and hours, I got to do some game dev. And if I got a pocket of time, I can play a small little roguelite or something like that and have some fun.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they keep making expansions, and I see the expansions are getting really well received in general. Because I'm a huge Diablo fan, man. I
know. That's why I brought it up.
Are you going to play it tonight?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Cool.
Comes out it might actually be out now. I don't know.
There's a new class for it?
Yeah, so there's two new classes, the Paladin, which was available if you pre-ordered. Snap. So I already did a playthrough of that. I might do it again. I haven't decided. And then there is the Warlock. I think it's a Warlock.
Okay.
I want to say. I could be wrong though. Let me check.
It's the Bard. You just music your way through.
Yep.
That would actually be amazing if Diablo figured out how to make a bard work in the game. You just
they could easily do it, honestly.
Beating things to death with your loot. Yeah.
You could literally just be, strumming and it sends out waves of power. It's they could easily do it. It would just kind of look a little goofy because it's just, music. Okay, all right.
Yeah. You can have
you're fighting Diablo with the power of music. Like that just sounds ridiculous. So I get why they may not want to go that route.
Yeah. Diablo's a little more grim, dark style vibey.
Yeah.
So it might not work.
Maybe just whip out an electric guitar. Just
there
start shredding.
Go. Oh, it'd be heavy metal. That's what.
Yeah.
Be sick. So. Show and movie wise, I finished Beef season 2, which I think was premium. I thought it was solid. Recommend it. It was fun in that it escalated so much further than I thought it was going to.
Okay.
It's like almost comical, and I think the show writers must have just been laughing when they were writing it, because they're like,
the entire time,
this is just going to start off with like people annoyed that they like saw somebody doing a thing at the wrong time, and now it like escalates into this crazy thing. It just escalates so absurdly beyond that it's fantastic, and you're kind of laughing at the show's sort of laughing at itself by the end, but it's fun. And the actors managed to make it believable the whole way through. Where you're like, you guys understand that this premise is lunacy at this point, right? And they're just like fully acting and committed to it. I'm like, all right, respect. I have respect. So I really enjoyed that, and I hope Beef keeps going, because season 1 and 2 were great so far.
I might have to check it out again because I tried season 1 and I watched one episode and I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
But maybe I gotta give it another try.
Yeah, I don't know. I did like season 1, but it is sort of you're watching characters go off the rails. You know, that's sort of
I watched
the
a single episode.
Yeah. Season 2's fun, but totally different vibe, you know, and they're standalone. Yep. So it's kind of funny is like, you don't have to watch the first one.
You don't have to watch them. Yeah.
To like the second one. I also watched, I watched a show cause, Natalie read a book on this and then was like, we have to watch a documentary because this is the craziest thing I've ever read.
Okay.
So we watched this documentary that came out, I think in 2024, about the Endurance. Do you know about this ship? So the Endurance
sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, it's super famous, but super famous for 1914, basically. Right when World War I was starting, we sent an expedition to Antarctica. Britain, the UK, sent an expedition to Antarctica, and they were gonna. Sir Ernest Shackleton was going to be the first person ever to cross the continent of Antarctica because I don't know, we couldn't go to the moon yet. So they're like, what's the craziest thing you can do?
Yeah, there's a bit of a difference between Antarctica and the moon.
I'd rather go to the moon, to be honest. Cross Antarctica on foot in 1914 or go to the moon.
No, thank you.
I'll go to the moon. Thank you very much. This story is the most insane thing ever. So the documentary on it's great because they're looking for basically the shipwreck of the Endurance, which is the name of the ship. They're sailing to Antarctica. They get caught in this giant, basically churn of ice flow because it's just this giant like whirlpool of ice, but on a continental scale. It's just huge.
Okay.
And they get stuck in it and basically frozen in. There's no way out. And eventually the ice is moving and undulating so much that it just cracks the ship in half, which they were using as their shelter from the, negative 20-degree weather that they're
miserable
hanging out in 1914, by the way. So their warm clothes were like, here's like a beaver pelt or something, like it wasn't
maybe not that, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Whatever.
It wasn't that long ago, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Well, I mean, but that's what warm clothes would have been made out of.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have to abandon their ship in this churn of ice on Antarctica and then try and make it to land. And they bring with them, they carry 2 like rowboats basically for them and the whole crew. And they spend so long in Antarctica. They spend 2 years there, Matt. Almost 2 years. It's like an insane amount of time where you're like,
how they eat?
Yeah, they killed a lot of seals, a lot of penguins. They brought like 70 dogs with them and they ate all of them.
Jesus.
Yeah, that part of the story is pretty dark. But this captain, Ernest Shackleton, he put this crew together. He just put out an ad in the newspaper and then like interviewed like 5,000 people and built a crew. And he did it basically just on their personality and attitude and was like, I need some like positive people because this is not going to be just a journey of like who's the buffest, but like it's going to be who's the mentally like the strongest and the most sound. Because
it sounded like it mattered.
Yeah, dude. So everybody on the expedition survived. He got everybody back. That's crazy. Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the notes
once
of
they
this,
got out of Antarctica, how did they cross like the rest of the ocean?
Yeah. So this is the craziest thing. So they basically they were trying to get on a solid land because they spent like a year on ice that was moving. So they would go to sleep and then hear like ice cracking below them and then be like, we got to move camp. We don't like this. Like the ice is just going to like come apart or whatever. So they managed to like row to this island that they think is going to be like better. The island is marginally better in the sense that it's not moving ice that's going to fall away at any moment. But then they're like, yeah, well, nobody's ever going to come to this island and find us. So we're screwed. We gotta do something. There's a whaling station called like Georgia something. There's like a little small island north of Antarctica, and it's like 700 miles from where they are. No joke. 700 miles. And so they take a crew of, I think, 4 people, and they put them in a boat with enough provisions to try and make the journey. And they freaking make it. It's the captain too. He goes with them. They make it to this whaling station. But when they make it to the island, they're on the other side of the island than the whaling station. And so they have to basically do like a Mount Everest style hike across this island. And they're like barely alive. Finally make it to this whaling station and then have to go back and try and get the people. And even then, the ships trying to go back to get to this island have to keep turning around because the seas are so insane and the ice is so insane. You just read it and you're like, there's no way any of these people should have lived. Not a chance in hell. And somehow, by like some miracle, just every time they're about to die and they needed one little ray of hope, like it just came through and they made it. And
that's incredible.
Like, such a cool. The documentary is amazing. It's called Endurance. And
what platform?
I think it's on Disney because it's a National Geographic thing.
Okay.
Really
I have
solid.
to check that out.
Yeah. And so it's not just the past, but it's the present, because the other part of the documentary is a modern vessel that is looking for the shipwreck. So it sort of goes back and forth looking for the Endurance that sank to the bottom of the Arctic Ocean.
Imagine you're one of those guys cresting over the whatever hill, and then you see civilization for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah,
the emotion that would like run through you, dude. Like I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like these guys haven't had like a shower, a bath, anything other than seal blubber. That's what they lived on for like like almost 2 years, I think. Seal blubber, dude. Where you're just like. Yeah, absolute insanity.
It's just calories, just literally just calories.
Yeah. I was watching it thinking like, I mean, like people were built different back then. Like I look at it, I'm like, I'd be dead on the voyage over.
That's it.
Like,
That's it.
I'm seasick, guys. I'm seasick. He died of dysentery on the way to Antarctica. No, I mean, just hardcore, dude. These guys were hardcore. It's like the ultimate story of just like perseverance, of just like all these guys just being like, we're going to do whatever we can to make it, you know, and somehow they made it. And you're like, doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Highly recommend it. Super cool. Not exactly new, but really well done documentary.
Yeah.
Also, I like those modern ships that like have all these cool drones and stuff that go and scan the ocean. Like that stuff is cool. Like we really know so little about the bottom of the ocean. And so they're like making all these like really high end drones that like go down like miles and are like scanning and photographing and doing all this stuff. And then they're like tethered to this giant super high tech ship that's got like everything on board. And you're like, this is cool, man. I like this kind of technology.
Hell yeah.
I want to invest in. They're sort of explorers. Agreed. Yeah. I'm down for it.
Don't think that'd be a good investment. No offense.
Yeah, you're right. And like last podcast, I think I brought up maybe this was in the post podcast show, but I was talking about the influencers that like talk about deep sea diving and repairing like pipes and stuff at the bottom of the ocean. Like those guys are built different too, man.
Yes. Literally.
Yeah. For sure dead in that environment.
Speaking of built different, you see that marathon runner did a marathon in under 2 hours?
No. How many kilometers or miles is a marathon? Is it miles?
28, I think.
Yeah, just some insane amount. That's crazy. How many minutes per mile is that then?
I don't know. But he did it in an hour, 59 minutes and 30 seconds.
Wow.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like the pace of that is nuts. Like, so when we're talking about people built different, it's like he is literally built different.
It is. When you find those athletic specimens where you're just like, nobody else can do this. The best people, the other 50 best people in the world don't even come close to this. It's wild. I was reading a thing about somebody who was like a swimmer also, who was able to swim in like freezing waters and stuff. And just like nobody else could do this. And they're like, anybody else would be dead hypothermic like an hour ago. And like somehow this person just
they
swims.
Channeled their inner chi.
Yeah, something. They just make it. Yeah. And they're like, how?
Like also marathon is 26.2 miles, so I was a little bit off.
Okay. That's incredible, dude. That'd be my time for like.
Yeah, it sounds like, so it looks like averaging 4.34 per mile. So 4 minutes and 34 seconds per mile, according to this AI. So I don't take
that is crazy. That is crazy. So fast.
Crazy. Because he rounded the corner and it looked like he was just going for a jog, like, you know.
Yeah.
And you're just like, whoa.
Well, I'm trying to remember
an
too,
entire
like,
marathon.
I'm trying to remember even doing like, because I did a bunch of running when I was on the wrestling team, and like I think 4:30 would have been a fast mile back then anyway.
It is a fast mile. That's incredibly fast. Yeah.
Let alone doing a 26 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's wild,
Bananas.
dude. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I want to talk to you about a game, but I'll save it for the post podcast show because I want to get strategy tips and all that stuff. You know.
Okay. All right.
I know you've played it. I know you've played it.
All right.
We'll save it.
I'm curious to see what game it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. I'm down to, I think I'm most excited for the Arc Raiders update next. I really want to check that out and just see.
Yeah.
Very pumped about that. Otherwise, you know, seems business as usual for the gaming world these days.
Yeah. For the most part, we got a bunch of games coming out. Seros, there's Diablo, Arc Raiders, Forza Horizon is in a couple of weeks. I'm super stoked for that. So we got some titles coming out.
Insane in that game too, man. Oh, racing games are so good looking. Cool. Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you guys for dropping by the podcast. We appreciate you so much. And if you want to come hang out, watch us record the podcast live and chill with us a little bit after each episode, you can look at our Patreon link down below. We record the podcast every Monday, unless we forget, and then it'll be on a Tuesday sometimes. But other than that, everybody else dropping by to listen will get some extremely helpful advice from Matt every single week. Take it away, Matt.
So, because I definitely prepared for this week, mine is, I think I already said this, eat more fiber in your diet. I don't think a lot of people are eating enough fiber.
Yeah. Like, what kind of foods would you recommend?
So like berries will have good fiber. Chia seeds, you can straight up do something like Metamucil if you want to go that route, just to full on supplement. You can, a lot of, Mexican food has a lot of great fiber. So beans, you know, tortillas and stuff like that can have great fiber supplements and stuff like that. Just a good way of, it's
tortilla has good fiber. Is that like, aren't they like corn?
You can buy
flour?
some that have like basically just like a souped up amount of fiber. Like 20 grams, which is just crazy.
Okay. I'm down with that. Hey man, berries are where it's at. Blueberries, get those, man. Blueberries are good for
raspberries. Yeah. I believe those have good fiber.
Cool. I appreciate it. This is definitely middle-aged gaming advice here.
It definitely is. It's apparently millennials and Zoomers are not eating enough fiber, and we're
getting enough physical activity, right? Because it's
that too. Yeah,
you gotta stay regular, man. If you're just sitting around playing games all day, you better get that fiber going.
Yeah,
you're gonna have some problems. This advice doesn't come from nowhere, people. This comes from life experience.
Yes.
And on that note, thank you all so much for coming by. We appreciate y'all. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care.